Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Radical Edge of HR, of course, presented by HR Knowledge Source, affectionately known as HRKS. My name is Tanya Holly. I'm so very happy to be your host today as we discuss another hot topic. And you know who that we always have the right people, we always have the experts. And so we are going to, hmm, looks like we are having some technical situations here. So give us a moment and we're going to come right back. Oh, we're live now. Okay. It looks like we weren't connected to the proper place. So let me welcome again because we were not live on all our streams. So let me rewind and introduce. Hey, welcome to the Radical Edge of HR. My name is Tanya Hawley, and I'm your host today, and I'm so excited to be here with you once again. And this, of course, is presented by HR Knowledge Source, known as HRKS. And we're going to dive right in because I always have the experts. And today's hot topic is the color of recruitment. And to discuss the color of recruitment, I've got the experts from HRKS. Let me introduce you. I'm so excited because for the first time we have Ursula May. Welcome, Ursula.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you everyone for logging in and sharing these moments with us. It should be a pretty fun conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me go ahead and get our second guest, and then I want to let you both introduce yourselves in your own special way. So please welcome back one of your favorites, one of my favorites too, Miss Alma Hooks. Hey, Alma. Welcome back.
Hey, y'all. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Wonderful.
Great. So, Ursula and Alma, I'm going to let you just introduce yourself. Just tell everyone just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get this party started for real. Ursula?
All right. So my name is Ursula May. I am an HR and recruiting consultant with a passion for people and processes. I have a background in, once again, human resources, a little over 8 years combined with talent acquisition. And then I've also served in some other professional services from individual contributor to leadership roles.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ursula. And Alma, your turn.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Alma Hooks. I am the practice leader for our DICE Center of Excellence. That's Diversity, Inclusion, Culture, and Equity. I love all things DEI. I have a background in international business. So that global and also domestic way of building your culture and changing your culture is my jam. So super excited to be here with you all today.
Wonderful. Thank you both for those wonderful introductions from your mouths. So, welcome both of you. Let's go ahead and dive in. We've got a hot topic, and I actually really like the title, The Color of Recruitment. Now, before we get into all the questions, can you all just tell us what does that title mean? What does the color of recruitment actually mean?
Well, I'll start it off. Yeah, I'll definitely start it off. When we introduced this topic, I was really excited because the first thing, that picture that popped into my mind was a hue of fruits and vegetables, right? And so the way that I would describe the color of recruitment would be color in the workforce with an assortment of backgrounds and personalities and skills and talents and perspectives and different visions. And I would say the benefit or the icing on the cake for diversity recruitment will be to help promote inclusive cultures and enhance employee experience, which all of that can result in significant financial implications for companies such as process improvement, higher cash flows, and even positive public perceptions.
Nice. Nicely put. Okay.
Yeah, that was said perfectly.
Yes. Mama, did you want to add anything to that? Or does
From a diversity perspective, when I think of the color of recruitment, I think of two things. So one, when we talk about hiring and recruiting people, we often talk about like diversity of thought and experiences and backgrounds, similar to what Ursula said. And I will say we're very visual creatures. So when we first go into an organization, we're looking at that phenotypic, what we see, attraction. That's just who we are as creatures. So we want to see people that look like us, whether that's, from an abilities perspective or a race perspective, right? So I thought about that with just, the color of recruitment as well as the variety that Ursula already mentioned.
Very good. And it's funny you said that, because the first thing that came to mind for me when I saw the title, Color of Recruitment, was different colors of people. In my head, I saw them lined up for a job, and I saw all different colors and hues of all different skin tones of people just lined up trying to interview for a job. That was in my head, of course. But I just...
Side note, Crayola created, I don't know if you all are familiar, Crayola created the box of crayons that represent the different hues of the world. And so that, like, to your point, Tanya, you made me think about that, because it's such a beautiful box.
It is.
And we bring all that to the workplace, right? So
I love that. I love that, because everybody knows what a Crayola box of crayons look like. Yep. So if I picture that in the workforce for recruiting, that's a pretty cool idea, or mental thought of that, just the different colors. So anyway, now that we talked about the actual title, let's dive on in. And so from the standpoint of this topic, how does marketing and branding play a role in recruitment? And I have to say, I hadn't thought of marketing for this topic until the question was presented. So I want everyone to hear your thoughts on that, because I would not have thought of marketing playing a part in this, not the way I think of marketing. So I think, Alma, you're going to start with this one?
Yeah, I'll start with this one. So strictly from a DEI perspective, right? Like going back to the Color of Recruitment, going back to that Crayola box, or, fruit, the assortment of fruit. When people are looking at your promotional materials, they're looking for themselves. So what are you doing as far as, what you're putting out there, whether it's social media, promotional materials? What does your website look like? So I have a quick anecdote. I had a friend about to interview for a high ranking position, and she called me and she was like, I'm about to interview for this position. Should I wear my natural hair? Should I straighten it out? I'm not sure, because I don't want to put this position in jeopardy. And my first response was, look on their website. Because though they might say something, what are they showing on their website and celebrating on their website? And are they showing people on the website with natural hair, or with different abilities, or with recognizing what their religious accommodations are? What does leadership look like, not just from a color perspective, but are they in some way showing that they can bring their whole selves to work? So that is one way. Also, like, social media is king right now. So what are you putting out there to show we celebrate, respect, acknowledge difference, and whatever that difference might be? So that comes along with the branding to say, hey, I think you could be a good fit here before you even have the first conversation with with a potential employee. One other thing I want to mention is not just representation, but also affiliations. Like, what affiliations do organizations have? That's a part of marketing and branding. Who's on your board? That's a part of marketing and branding, because that's how you get those branches out even more. And I know Ursula's going to talk a lot about like the sourcing piece, but this is all a part of promotions. What are people saying about you when you're not in the room? And what are people walking away with when they see that vision of you as an organization?
Absolutely. Ooh, absolutely.
That was really good. I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I would say that there's an interdependence between employer branding and recruitment marketing, right? And so really there's no science behind it. I think it's more of an art, because the purpose is really to aim to attract candidates, right? And also to improve the candidate experience. And so I'm gonna throw a couple of little stats out there, because I love to see what's happening and talk a little bit more about what's happening out in the market. So according to LinkedIn, 80% of talent acquisition managers believe employer branding has a significant impact on the ability to hire talent. Also, 55% of job seekers abandon applications after reading negative reviews online. And then 79% of candidates use social media in their job search. So I'll let that marinate with you just for a second, because you can see where that connection is. And once again, I've had some similar experiences as I was in the job searching cycle. One of the things that I looked at is I looked at the representation. I looked at websites, LinkedIn pages, social media channels. And I'll tell you, some organizations I decided may not have been the best fit for me because I did not see any representation that I felt like I could connect with. And so, those things are extremely, extremely important. Once again, it's more of an art versus a science, but a part of the marketing is not just what's on websites or social media channels. It's also using the power of conversations. It's about having those connections within your networking groups. And those groups can be both personal as well as professional. They can be specific to your industry, your niches, geographic locations, as well as maybe even shared targeted audiences.
Ooh, Ursula, I just thought about something. So Artie, our SVP, was presenting at like a chamber event, and she was talking about employee handbooks. And she talked about how even your employee handbook could be a marketing tool or promotional tool in-house, right? Because we're talking about externally, but with recruiting comes retention. So how are you allowing your handbook to be something that's inviting, something that is marketable, something that people can talk about even outside of your four walls? So yeah, I just thought about that.
Absolutely. And you just brought up another great tool as well, is exit interviews. So when, once again, employees talk, whether it's current employees, former employees, there's still that level of networking and connection happening, even if it's not within your specific building per se. And so it's really important to really enhance that employee experience, because once again, you can use those experiences as testimonials, or they can unfortunately have negative connotation on the representation or the public representation of your brand. So just being thoughtful around that.
Good stuff, ladies. Good stuff. First thing that came to mind is I research everybody. I Google them. If somebody sends me something wanting to sell, because of course I do marketing, and whether it's a person or a company, I go straight to Google. Not saying Google is always right, but I just want to see what's out there.
So no, I'm playing.
Glassdoor, Glassdoor is another social platform to research companies and find out a little bit more about the insides of what's happening behind closed doors. So all these tools, once again, are used in the job search journey, and it's important for hiring managers to or just general leadership to keep these things in mind.
Yes. And everyone, if you're out there watching us, put a note in the chat. Let us know you're there. Say hi to us. We'd love to say hi to you. Charlotte Brown Helvey is here. Thanks for joining us. She says exit interviews are a wonderful tool. Yes. I love what you were saying, because I think one of the main points go along with the marketing, what you were saying, is that you need to have a marketing presence. If you don't, do you have a marketing presence to begin with? Because people are going to want to look and see. And if they can't find anything about you, then they're not going to know, that you really want to be there if there's nothing there. So most people these days do. So part of that is make sure you have the right marketing presence, I guess, is more importantly. I think in this day and age, almost everybody would have some type, but make sure it's the right marketing presence or to help you appeal to the type of people that you want for your corporation. All right, let's go on to the next question. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Hey, y'all. Showing love in the chat.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We want to know we are not just talking to ourselves, so thank you all. We'd love to see you there. Okay. What are some strategies and challenges within sourcing and recruitment?
Well,
I
I'll
think
take the lead on
person.
this one. Yes, absolutely. I'll take the lead on this one. So sourcing in a nutshell, in plain language, is the really the approach to finding talent as it pertains to recruitment, right? To finding that ideal candidate to fill that role. And so there's a variety of different tools that are used, all led by humans, but there is an AI approach or a technology approach also. But I would say one of the major challenges is not being prepared, right? As a hiring manager, you have a sudden resignation. And so I call these hiring panics. And so you go in directly into a hiring panic, or for the new budget, you realize we're adding some new positions. So now we have to fill them, and we have to fill them very quickly. And so because of that, sometimes it can be challenging to be well prepared. And so it's always good practice to incorporate that into your budget planning every year. Having a recruitment or a hiring plan. I would say, and even when it comes down to sourcing, really knowing what type of candidate or what type of skill sets or key competencies, excuse me, that you are looking for, but also being very realistic about it, right? Does that person exist, or would that person exist based on what is out in the market? In addition to that, those key competencies and those list of things that we all look for at times, are they based on business needs and customer needs, and not just some type of ideal of what you think you need for that role? And then having that level of flexibility and openness too, because you might not necessarily get that person that has 1 through 10 job requirements, but there could be that purple unicorn per se in the mix that may give you a strong 6 or 7. And then there's some areas of development or some other perspectives and skill sets that can be also added when that person comes aboard. And then having an attractive job description that promotes inclusivity, and so with that, really swapping out unconscious biases and coded language, really making sure that it's in plain language for all applicants out there. For instance, instead of saying in a job description, recent college graduate, you may want to put in entry-level position. Instead of using cultural fit, you may want to use aligned values or philosophies. So those are just some key things that can be adjusted within a job description. Also, just to add, most of the job descriptions that we see may have something that says ability to lift or carry 50 pounds. May want to look at changing that to be able to move 50 pounds versus lift to carry. So those are some of the things to look for or to consider when you are developing attractive job descriptions. Did you want to add to it before I move on?
Yeah, so I will add, where are you sourcing and where is this information going up? So from a DEI perspective, I often hear, we want diverse candidates, we just can't find them. And I'm like, in Atlanta, you can't find them, right? Like that's really, and that's when I've realized in doing this work, like across the U.S., I'm hearing the same thing regardless of how diverse the population is. So that lets me know, one, it's a mindset, and two, where are you sourcing and where are you posting your information? That's a huge, huge piece. And where are those community partnerships and professional organizations where you're starting to build relationships and now you are the employer of choice? And then the last thing I will say is, and this is just probably a pet peeve, it's when I hear we want diverse candidates, but we also want someone who's really qualified. And I always ask, why are qualifications in question when we're talking about a diverse candidate? One, let's define what diverse candidate is for your organization and what you need, but also, it's not mutually just exclusive, right? So it's a yes and it depends on where you're sourcing and finding your people, because there are brilliant, amazing, diverse people out there. We just might not be looking in the right place or posting in the right place. So that's my 2 cents I'll add.
Absolutely. And you bring up a great point, Amma. So, some of the job boards that are available now, I will tell you from 5 to 10 years ago, there wasn't a lot of diversity or options or variety with posting. You use like the monsters and the career builders, and not to knock them whatsoever, but those are for the general public. But now we have seen as a community, and when I say community within the US, we've seen where there's a need to help with promoting or giving individuals opportunities. So there's various job boards like diversity jobs, Seek Out, Job Gets, Work for Good. Work for Good is for nonprofits. So there's a variety of different job boards that are out there that are specific to diversity focused, different industries as well as niches. Also, another strategy is scrubbing resumes, using more of like the blind screening. I know Google and Deloitte are 2 organizations, my understanding, that practice this approach, and that's to help eliminate like basic personal details like names and genders and residence and even educational backgrounds, just once again to really be able to remove those subconscious biases.
Okay, great. We got a few comments over here. Just want to make sure we get everyone in, and thank you all again for joining us. We've got Dominique Harbor and Monica Bright. Hey, Monica, and Renee. Hi, Renee. Wanda Houston saying great information. Monty McDowell saying this is great content. Many organizations don't consider the branding impact on DEI. Yes, that's true. Thanks, Monty, for that. Nina Robinson. Nina actually has a question, but before I get to that, Kristen Montekenya, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but good morning and thanks for joining us. And Nina is also saying, in response to Monty saying, we were talking about in Atlanta, we couldn't find it. It was that part. Candidates. Monty is saying they're not really looking, with a smiley, a laughy face. And then Nina's saying, or they are not targeting that population effectively. So that was also good.
Yeah.
He's saying also, I like Work for Good. No real success using it, but it is a good site. Also, glga.org for local government opportunities. All right. And so the question, I'm going to save it toward the end because it is kind of related to some other things. So let's move on. And Nina, we'll get to your question in just a moment. Thank you. So did we cover Track and Engage? I think we kind of were talking about.
I was gonna mention that in a second. Yep. Go ahead, Ursula.
Okay, I'll make it quick. So a couple of things around tracking and engaging, right? So once you've identified those candidates, a couple of things regarding the recruitment process. That is the interview process. I want to bring that up. So really looking at diverse interview panels, right? Different perspectives. Also, maybe even utilizing your company's employee resource group. That always is a great bonus there. Using open-ended questions, focusing on skills and knowledge, and the quality of the answers. So those are just some tips around interview processing. Also, any type of pre-aptitude assessments, ensuring that those are skill-based. Some other examples that can be used are work samples, video interviews. And then in addition to that, we want to talk about backgrounds. So once a candidate has been selected, there's potentially an offer on the table. There's some pre-employment processes, steps, that's a part of the process. One of the things I would say, making some levels of consideration or thoughts around is promoting, well, right now, certain companies are open to second chance programs. Not all companies have that level of flexibility because of the sensitivity of either their customers or business, but that has definitely been an opportunity to open up your candidate pipeline or your pool.
So everything that Ursula said, I would say +1. And we want to track all that stuff. So you want to create metrics around it to gauge success, to gauge impact, and also to celebrate the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
So when you think about some recruiting metrics, it's looking at things such as like your percentage of diverse candidates in your total pool of people, or for example, percentage of diverse candidates receiving interviews versus extending offers, right? What's the percentage of diverse candidates? And again, you must define what diverse is for your organization. But then what's that percentage that actually accept those offers? Because that allows you to know where is the bottleneck in your process. Number one, who can I celebrate in this process? So for example, if you have interviews and panels, like Ursula said, and you notice there's a panel that typically has, a great a not so great fallout rate, then maybe that's an area for you to dig a little deeper, or the reverse. Maybe that's an area you can celebrate. So what gets measured is done, and we need to track or create metrics and KPIs around what the experiences are, and also how candidates are going from sourcing to hired.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A couple of other metrics I'm going, and we can move on. Yes. So a couple of other metrics, and then we can move on. It's also diversity in leadership and promotions. That is a key.
Great point.
And these things should be measured, and trends should be reviewed on a quarterly basis.
I was going to say, Ursula, I was going to have to interrupt you. I'm so sorry because we're almost out of time. We only have 4 minutes left.
So much fun.
It went really fast. It's great content, and I can't believe how fast it went. But I'm glad you kept it short because I was trying to cut in there. You got a little bit in, so okay. But and I'm sorry I had to do that. But we want to respect everyone's time, spending a little bit of their lunch hour with us. Let me get the question in, and I'm just going to ask you all if you have some closing remarks right quick. So sure. Nina just was asking, what are some options for organizations that have no HR support on staff? What do you recommend? Well, I recommend us, but HRKS. It kind of, I guess the question is now, do you need, if you need an HRKS person, that's where, to recruit a person, of course we do that. That's Ursula's expertise. And if you need other options, like someone to come in and just sit in that place or that space for you, we can help you with that as well. So I would say, Nina, connect with us offline. You can certainly email us at clientsolutions@hrksllc.com, and we'd be happy to talk to you about other options and details and just kind of help you navigate that if need be. You can also look on or send us a message via any of the social media platforms as well. So I hope I answered that as I try to do it.
Can I add one really quick
Absolutely.
thing? Nina, I will also say if there is no HR support on the staff, or let's say you just have one HR person that has no one else, really look at your routines and how you're spending your time and what percentage of that time is used to recruit people, and out of your time, how much of that time can be spent in the field, right? So out building relationships, getting to know other organizations so your company can be known as the preferred place to work.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Very nice. And we can give you a lot more of that, Nina. So we got to keep it short today, but we'd be happy, right? Just call us.
Reach out to us.
Discuss in detail about that. We'd love to. Thank you for that. Okay. Thanks, Nina. In closing, if you all have something you want to say in closing, I'm sorry to rush you. It's 11:59, but anything in closing that you would like to leave everyone with?
So I wanted to leave everyone with a reflective exercise, right? So we've talked about a great deal of information. I feel like we could talk for hours about this topic. And so what I would ask that you do is think about your experience as either a hiring manager or an applicant, and whether that's a positive or the most bizarre experiences that you've had. and start looking at how you could possibly improve that experience, and then incorporate that into some of the strategic planning within your organization. Please drop us a line. Once again, Nina asked the question, HRKS and the Recruitment Alliance. I'm a practice leader with the Recruitment Alliance. And so you're more than welcome to reach out to us. We have a plethora of services and solutions that we can customize to your business and your business needs. And once again, we're full of experience. A team that's full of experience, that have a passion for human resources as well as recruitment. And we also personalize each and every client that we work with.
Great. Thank you, Ursula. Alma, did you have anything? I think she summed it up.
I feel like Ursula summed it up. So you all have a great.
Did I plug it real good?
You did. You summed it up perfectly.
Yes. So we thank you, everyone, for joining us again. If you have any questions about diversity, that whole everything diversity, Amish lady, she's the one. Recruitment, we've got that covered. Any HR need, as Ursula was saying. Because at HRKS, we know HR, and we'd be happy to help you with any HR need. Be sure you subscribe and follow us on all our social media platforms. You can find us at HRKS LLC at all of them. So we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and have a fantastic day. And we'll see you next time on the Radical Edge of HR. Thanks, everybody.
Yes,
Bye.
bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.